Welcome everyone. Welcome to another preview. This is MetalCanyon and we'll be checking out the beta version of Yes Your Grace by Brave at Night. That's the developer, so, they're not scared at night, they're quite brave at night. This is sort of a mix between Papers, Please, of which I did quite an extensive Let's Play series on my channel, and Not Tonight, of which I did a review on my channel a while ago. And I suppose graphically it's more of a Not Tonight, on Not Tonight's side, because it's more colorful, maybe slightly more detailed than Papers, Please, which, in its own right has a very sort of minimalistic graphical style. But anyway, this happens in a fantasy world, I suppose low fantasy medieval world, because there are monsters and magic out there, apparently. I just haven't really saw much of it. But this is just a beta, so a lot of things might change, and this is practically just an hour of gameplay at the moment. So it's 13:15, and we play the king of this kingdom. Click on the petitioner to call them forward. So much like in Not Tonight or Papers, Please, you have petitioners coming to your throne room, and you talk to them, make decisions, and so on. So unlike Papers, Please and Not Tonight, this also allows you to walk around your castle, and I sort of think there's more of a story to it. It leans more on story than the other two, even though the other two aren't storyless. So there's Audrey. It is time, Your Grace. Click on the throne to step down. I better put on the crown. So let's take the crown. So this is really just the intro. You can find your inventory in the lower left corner. Oh yeah, we have to put this on. It's getting a bit rusty. Wear it. There we go. So we're going to be getting out of here. So this is our castle, and the wall around it, and basically this is Grevno, as you've seen, a capital, I suppose, of our kingdom. And the cool thing about this is you don't just sit in your throne room and talk to people. You can also go to other places within your castle, like the castle wall in this case. But there will be other places available as well as you progress through the story. So let's go to the castle wall. Your Grace! A deserter! Found one of ours hiding in a shed. There's too many of them. We have no chance of winning. If you let him off, the rest may follow. However, our army is sparse as it is. We need every set of hands able to hold a sword, Your Grace. Even the least of brave soldiers are essential now. Spare, or there's no place for cowards under my banner. So let's spare this guy. With courage, we will defeat the enemy no matter the odds. Let him lose, General. Go and stand for Davern. Thank you, Your Grace. So right at the beginning, we get a choice. How bad is it, General? Our men are scared. It's the middle of the night, and yet it's so bright as if Svarog himself walked our lands. The thin walls won't last long, and we lack any solid defense measures. We don't have enough men. Once they get in, we have nothing we can throw their way. Can you hear that chanting? They're getting ready. We'd better get started. Archers are awaiting you at the wall, Your Grace. There's still time to put up white flags. So let's go through the doors. And there's quite an army at our doorstep. Archers, Sons of Davern, or put up a white flag. I've actually never tried putting up the white flag, but no, I'll just go Archers. You could give them a rousing speech, but I just chose to have them fire. Alright, so this is basically the intro further up in the future, and then we go back in time. Leading up to this point, 1 year earlier. And I have a feeling that you can actually avoid this whole thing. So I'm not going to read you everything here, and try to voice act or whatever. I can see you back there. But here's your daughters. Here's your wife. Okay, she's not going to come out. I'm not playing with you, darling. But yeah, suffice to say, there's quite a bit of dialogue in the game. And it's not just filler. You know, they can give you some quite important pointers, information, based on which you can decide what you wish to do, actually. So here we go. Here's our first day of getting petitioners. And unlike in Papers, Please, where you have to take care of your money, for example, and in Not Tonight as well, amongst some other things, here it's a little bit more expanded. You've got gold, with which you pay for things, but you also collect taxes and so on. You've got supplies, which is in essence food, and if you run out of either, it's game over, so you have to be pretty careful about that. Then you've also got your army, so we've got 100 soldiers, which is pretty much nothing. We've got morale of the town, or I suppose content, so if this falls too low, I guess you get a riot. I mean an uprising. I'm not sure, I've never had it fall too low, but it might also be game over. And then on the bottom you've got different resources. You've got generals, which are important for various missions that you can send to on the map. You've got I think these are like hunters and then witches and something. I've never gotten these yet because I don't think they're even available in the demo. I mean, in the beta. And you've got carrier pigeons with which you can send invites. You can see it's carrying a little note. You can send invites to various other kings and lords and so on to try and help you. So anyway, let's click on Aurelia, which is our wife. Can you go and speak to Lursulia, my dear? I've tried talking to her, but she just won't respond. I don't know what's got into her recently. Maybe she will open up a bit more to you. She's probably wondering about the wall. Oh, wondering about at the wall. Of course, my sweetest. Let's see what our dungeon guard has to say. Your Grace, I bring bad news. The recent rains have soaked through our roofs. The pantry roof has collapsed, as well as some walls of our dungeon. Only one cell is currently functional. We should really fix those things before they get worse. Otherwise we'll keep losing supplies. You will see the required fixes in your weekly summary at the end of the week. So this is in essence like a tutorial showing you what to do. And here's some actual people we need to deal with. Your Grace, my daughter's wedding is at hand. Congratulations. The problem is, we don't have enough gold or supplies to make a worthy feast. What will my daughter's in-laws think of our family? We want to hire a band, buy some of that fancy wine on the market. We would only need 8 gold and 8 supplies. Bloody hell, that's quite expensive. You might think we have enough and a lot, but we don't. You have my blessing, but I won't help. The kingdom has more important matters at hand. Wish your daughter the best from me. You skimp us a little gold? Shouldn't the king support his people in the hard times? I can't feed my guests with the king's blessing. So of course now... Oh, no, that was an entry. Interesting. We didn't lose contentment, which is quite interesting. Let me see. It's been decided to ignore the request. Now here's the thing. As you complete these, unlike in, for say, Papers, Please and... well, I mean, both of the other games that I've been talking about, Papers, Please and Not Tonight, you just deal with people there and you very, very rarely see them again, unless they're comic relief and so on. But over here, each of these choices will matter in a different way, because, for example, maybe I have decided to help this guy with the wedding, and maybe, I don't know, later on he finds a chest of gold and is so grateful for you for helping him that he comes back and gives you part of that gold. You know, so... And also, sometimes with more troublesome things, you might lose people's happiness with you if you don't actually help them. But of course, if you lose all your gold, which is quite hard to come by, it's game over. If you lose all your supplies, it's quite game over. And also, in the same day, if I were to give that guy, I don't know, let's say, hypothetically say 15 supplies, so I would only have 5 left, and this guy had something really important, like the horses are dying in the stables, we need, 10 supplies, you wouldn't have any. So there you go, you have to think about that. And I'll get back to that in just a moment. Let's talk to this peasant. Your Grace, I come here representing my village. We want to ask you for 8 gold to help us gather tools and resources required to build an inn. We could really use a new place to rest after a long day of work. Okay, take this gold. Make it the best inn around. So we lose 8 gold and we get +1 morale. I'll just call it morale. Now I know for a fact, I believe that this inn will actually start making money. Yeah. So later on this guy will come back and you can haggle with him. Well, I mean, as much as a king can haggle, really, to give you a share of the profits. He wants to give you a share of the profits anyway, but you can haggle with him for a better yield, which is actually really quite helpful. Monsters! Beasts dressed in black! They came in the night, unseen, unheard, until they arrived. They attacked the village. We heard the dreadful screams of the slain. Your Grace, I beg you, you must send your men, check what happened. Find those responsible. Tell me more. Who are they? Bright red heads, short but sharp fangs, hundreds of them, gleaming metal for their claws. We've never seen anything like it. Tell me more. Oh, same thing. Alright, my agent will check the village. The general should deal with these bandits easily. Thank you, Your Grace. So, this was an automatic general thing. We've sent him, but otherwise you have a choice whether you actually want to employ one of your generals, and a lot of the times you actually have a an option whether to send a general or spend supplies and such, or just tell him, you know, no, I'm not interested. But the reason this is important, because later on you get a map here, and with the map you can send your general to various bandit outposts and such to get rid of them, to scout them out, and sometimes to even find loot. And you've seen that it said general sent 1W, which means he'll be gone for 1 week, and each of these days per se is 1 week, so he'll be available the next time. And this is important because sometimes these missions can take 2, maybe even more weeks, and if you don't have any more generals, you won't be able to send them on special missions with people that would require his help. So, after talking to all the petitioners, you then have some optional dialogues, like in the dungeon and the gardens, and some mandatory ones, which are the blue ones. Well, important matters. So let's go to the dungeon. Damn it, this is worse than I thought. The recent downpour have damaged a lot of buildings, Your Grace. While we still have space for prisoners, we should focus on buildings that need more attention. I've had a scribe write a list of things that need to be fixed. You will see this in your weekly summary, Your Grace. Sounds like it's going to be costly. Yes. So there's a hole here. You can also click on a lot of stuff and the king will mention it. The dungeons are a mess. I don't want to think what else is growing in here. It's quite pretty though. So let's talk to this peasant. Good God, that could have been me. Your Grace, do you see what happened here? If I was in the other cell, I would have been crushed. This is a sign. God has forgiven my sins. I shall serve the mighty ones. I will dedicate my life to those in need. I mean, if I could get out of here, please. Why are you here again? Oh, I bumped into the innkeeper on the street and stepped on his toe. How dare you tell such falsehoods? He ordered a gallon of beer, drank it all by himself, and didn't even have the gold to pay for it. I know the innkeeper. He was pretty upset. Oh yes, I think I remember. Your Grace, I've been enlightened. I won't ever do such a stupid thing again. I will serve a higher purpose now. Just maybe let me out? You've had enough, or you got what you deserve? No, I didn't release him in my own playthrough, but well, let's see what happens. I hope you learned your lesson. You may leave. What? Really? The gods have truly chosen me. I will go and spread their wisdom. Thank you, Your Grace. Our paths will cross again. I can feel it. Now, whether this crossing of the paths is going to be good or not, I have no idea. But you know, he might come back and say, "Oh, I've found a big bag of gold," or "I've found some soldiers willing to join us." Let's talk to Asalia. Yes, Father? Can you explain the fight in the gardens? So yeah, I'm gonna skip this because apart from having to take care of your kingdom, the finances, supplies, and everything else, you also have to take care of family matters, and that includes marriage and such. And of course, just like in medieval times, most of these marriages are arranged, and you know, your daughter might not be too appreciative of that. Let's go to the castle wall. Now, of course, down here we also have this little flower, which if I click it, it'll go to the next week. But first we want to talk to our daughter here, Lursulia. Oh, it's you. You need to stop fighting with your sister. Do you want to talk about what happened in the gardens? No, I'm fine, father. Why didn't you want to play with us? Maybe I'm not 5 anymore? She's been pretty nasty recently. And so on and so forth. Like I said, I don't want I don't want to spoil too much, because like I said, the story doesn't seem to be randomized, but of course, depending on what you do, things will change. So, oops, I didn't have to go back to the throne room, but that's okay. Let's end the week. So here it is. Here's week 1. Our treasury has a broken theater, which means that every week we lose some morale. We've got a broken pantry roof, which means we lose 5 supplies, which is not very good. And we have to pay the general Stan 8 gold per week, which is ridiculous if you ask me, because the taxes only get us 20 gold. So in essence, we're getting 12 gold per week, and we're getting 2 supplies per week. Now, in order to fix these problems, and I think it's a pretty wise idea to do it right at the start, just fix everything, because otherwise you're just going to be hemorrhaging loads of money, loads of supplies, and of course morale. So let's fix everything, because we have enough of everything. The one thing I don't quite understand, I guess that's going to be changed in the full release, but let's say that I was to use up the rest of the 14 gold here. Exactly 14 gold, so I would be at 0. It doesn't matter, even if you had a positive income, it would say game over, you've got 0 gold left, which is kind of weird, but okay. So there we go. We fixed all of that, invested quite a bit of money and supplies into it, and we've got more people to talk to. Now, the thing that I'm slightly worried about is the linearity. Now, like I said, I've already played through this once, and I know what's going to happen. Well, at least I'll mostly remember what's going to happen with some of these people. Now, if you... I've played it for the first time, and I've sort of barely scraped through with the gold and supplies. But here's the thing. If you know exactly what to do, it's going to get a lot easier. Obviously, if you metagame and know what's going to happen in advance. But if you don't, it's a very, very thin line of knowing just what giving some gold and supplies to a person might do in the future. Will they actually give you anything back in the future? Will it have any repercussions? So it's a very thin line, which means that you don't really have a lot of choice in a way. You'll have to save and reload if you do something really stupid. So I don't know, I kind of have a feeling like there should be a little more leeway as far as gold and resources go, so you don't actually have to really think hard about every opportunity you get. But then again, I do understand that your kingdom really isn't very rich at all, so, you have to scrape by. So here's our general. We get him back now. Your Grace, no sign of the monsters. We did stumble upon these bandits, though. They were pillaging the village. Red ahead, sharp teeth, a crest of Radovia? I thought you could only find one in books and old manuscripts. Well, seems like we have one right here, too. Tell me. I've heard enough. We can't allow barbarians to stalk our lands. So, I threw them in the dungeon last time, but let's see what happens if I execute them. No Radovian scum will threaten the crown. Behead him. My brothers will hear about this, and you will feel their poisonous bite. I need to see Aurelia about this. Oh, excuse me. So he wants to talk to us. What do you make of this, Audrey? Radovians here? How would they get through the mountains? Why would they threaten a war? It's a lot of questions, but I need answers, Audrey. So anyway, you know that army right at the start of the game? There's a reason for it, and it's kind of dark in a way, but I won't spoil it for you. Anyway, excuse me. Jeez. So, like I said, you have to deal with a lot of family issues. Your daughters are fighting with each other. You know, you have to have an arranged marriage and so on and so forth. There's a peasant here. My dear son is nowhere to be found. Okay, so let's send our general to find his son. So the nice thing about sending a general is that you don't actually, in a way, have to pay gold or supplies to resolve the situation. But of course, you are paying the general's weekly wages, and he will be gone for 2 weeks. And also, if you're very short on supplies or gold, there's the banker, Eton, who can lend you some... oh wait. No, that's not a... Never mind. Let's give him some gold. So anyway, I know for a fact that this is a pretty good thing to do. Lurs, is this the one? No, it's not. Anyway, yeah, you do get a banker, and he offers you 100 gold or 100 supplies, and you have to pay 120 back. So, yeah, there are ways out of being so poor, but of course it all comes at a price, and it is very dangerous. I'm assuming it's game over if you cannot pay the bank back. So let's go back to the main... Actually, let's load... save one here. So I can show you a little bit further in week 6. You see we've got quite a lot more soldiers. There's a reason for that, obviously. Quite a bit of gold, but of course... let me see. Hearings, details. Where do I actually see the... I don't know. Never mind. I wanted to see how much I was paying, because obviously I took some money from the bank and I'm paying it back here. But you can see that allies, you can invite allies here. I already have King Talus at the in my castle right now, and for some reason I cannot invite Ada, even though I do click invite and it does send the invitation, but nothing happens. So I'm not sure if she's even in the beta. And then you've got the map, which shows you your castle, and then these posts of the foreign army, to which you can send your generals. But right now I don't really have a general. Oh, I do? No, I don't have him because I still haven't talked to him yet. There, he's coming back. And yeah. So this is pretty cool. This shows you that later on there will be more stuff that you can send your generals to. See, the map is actually quite extensive. And considering that there's 1 year before the whole war thing, I'm thinking there's going to be a lot more interesting stuff going on, like actual monsters, magical things, and so on and so forth. So I quite like it. I like the idea of being king and, you know, having petitioners and dealing with marriages and dealing with your family and politics and other stuff and taking care of your actual kingdom and castle, upgrading things and so on and so forth. That's pretty... I like that a lot. Let's see what happens if I just walk away. Can I just walk away? Apparently I can, and I guess they will still wait for me. There's a bedchamber here. You can go talk to your wife there a lot of the times. Oh yeah, okay, so they're still waiting because of course you're king. But anyway, yeah, this is really quite interesting. The graphics are very nice. I like the pixely graphics. They're nicely detailed. It's quite intriguing, all the stuff that happens throughout this beta, story-wise, and I like the management aspect. Like I said, I'm just a little bit worried about the game giving you a very thin line that you can walk on, and if you don't, you'll fall off a cliff and you'll have to reload possibly many weeks back so you correct your mistakes, because otherwise you just go bankrupt. So anyway, yeah. Thank you very much for watching. This was just a short preview. This is a beta, like I said, so a lot of the things might change, probably will change and be added and so on. But yeah, I'll post a link down in the description below for the Steam page of this game. and I'll see you in another preview. Bye bye.